Hi, I'm Esme with Hotwire Your Life, Mojo for Boomer Chicks. I'm here today with author Michael Murphy to talk about his latest novel, Goodbye, Emily. Good morning, Michael, and thank you for joining me today. First of all, I wanted to thank you for sending me the wonderful book, Goodbye, Emily. I really enjoyed it. In fact, I stayed up late reading it. It was a real page turner.
Oh, great.
I wanted to thank you also for bringing me back to a time when I was a teenager when I went to a lot of concerts very similar to Woodstock. Now, I was a couple of years too young to go to the actual Woodstock, and I didn't realize just how impactful it was until I read Goodbye, Emily. So thank you for filling in those blanks for me.
Right, absolutely. I enjoyed writing it, as you can probably tell.
Indeed, yes.
The main impetus was 4 days after my 60th birthday, I was laid off by my employer of 17 years. And I kind of fought my way through the 7 stages of grief, anger, denial, and all that. And finally, I decided that I was going to take this experience, and I decided to write a novel with some of my experiences that I had gone through, losing my job, and at a time in life that a lot of people face certain challenges. Some of them are medical, like Sparky is facing in the book. So I took some of me and my experiences in that and made Sparky not only grieving for the loss of Emily, but for the loss of his career and wondering what he was going to do with what he hopes would be the rest of his long life.
Indeed, I think that's a spot a lot of boomers find themselves in.
I think so. The fact that I was laid off is certainly not unique, but, when a person in their 60s goes through it, it's a difficult thing to go through. And so I wanted the novel to explore what baby boomers or the Woodstock Nation now is going through when facing health issues and, other employment issues and retirement issues. I remember when I first explained to my wife about the 3 main characters, and one has been diagnosed with broken heart syndrome, one is a Buck who is a troubled Vietnam vet, and the third has Alzheimer's. And she said, it sounds kind of depressing, don't you think? And I kind of chuckled because she knows my writing, and she knows that I bring a lot of humor into it. So I think I addressed some serious issues and tried to do so in a humorous, optimistic way.
You certainly accomplished that. You had me laughing many times.
Oh, good. I'm glad you did, because, like I said, when I explained some of the themes of the book, the fact that people can find laughter in the way some of the themes are presented, I'm really pleased by it. And I've had a lot of real positive 5-star reviews, and invariably they'll mention I laughed and I cried. And a lot of people have gotten out of Goodbye, Emily what I hoped they would.
I truly believe that. Mike, I also really enjoyed how you played with the relationships and how they changed as the perception of the other person shifted. One of my favorite relationships was the one with the old man Simpson, the crusty old neighbor.
Sparky had disliked from the moment. They had disliked each other from the moment, he moved in. And he found out a little bit more about him, and it changed his perspective. And even the prosecutor, the ambitious prosecutor, has some motives other than just ambition as to why he was pursuing the psychedelic van across 2 states.
Mm-hmm. Mike, what was your favorite relationship to play with as you wrote the book, and why was it your favorite?
Well, there's probably 2. One is Emily, because although through the flashback scenes one sees Emily, as a young person, but we never get to see Emily as an adult, because of when the novel opens, she's been dead for 2 years.
Yep.
And that relationship, that's a lot of the focus of the novel, is Sparky's relationship with Emily. I remember the first 2 readers, female readers, that read it for me before it was published. They had almost identical reactions, and their response was, I wish that I was loved the way Emily was.
I love that how as Sparky develops emotionally within his relationships throughout the book, he ended up being reacted to differently, and there was a really big shift in all the relationships in the book, and I thought you demonstrated that beautifully.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
I want to share with you that my grandmother suffered greatly from Alzheimer's. She died of it eventually. And that part of your book really touched me. I wonder, Mike, what nudged you to write about Alzheimer's?
Approximately 20 years ago, prior to the job, the career that laid me off after 17 years, the preceding job, I spent 3 years as a director of marketing for a head injury rehabilitation program that was housed in a skilled nursing facility. And in that skilled nursing facility was an Alzheimer's unit, and it was locked, but the patients would, kind of wander around occasionally. And I got to know not only the patients, but the patients' families. And to me, the real victims were the families, so I can understand the reaction to Josh and his mother in the novel. But the patient in the novel, the former teacher that keeps asking Sparky if he's done his homework, that's based on a real woman who I would see her maybe once every 2 or 3 weeks, or it could be consecutive days that happened. And she would always ask me if I've done my homework. In my late 30s at the time. At that time, it was somewhat humorous to me, but it was equally or even more so sad because I could see that she was clinging to the past, but yet the path had slipped away.
I like that you turned it into something good, though. I like the way that Sparky ended up having a better understanding about Josh's mother, and she ended up being more compassionate towards what Josh and his friends were wanting to do with her son.
Yeah, I didn't want her to be a cliched character. She obviously had a difficult life as well. She had lost her husband, she had lost her son, and she turned to religion, and it was a help to her, but it also prevented her from, I think, getting close to her son, Josh. I think in the end, when she realizes that him going back to Woodstock with Sparky and Bud, that was good for her son. Alzheimer's was a theme a lot of baby boomers do face with their parents, and they may face it with themselves. That was a tough line to walk.
I bet. I enjoyed that you had the Alzheimer's actually bring people together instead of tearing them apart.
That's what I was going for, because it can really destroy families. I saw it destroy families.
So my takeaway after reading Goodbye Emily, Mike, was, well, first of all, don't judge a book by its cover. Pardon the pun. Things aren't always what they seem. When you do a paradigm shift, as in change the way you look at things, and the things you look at will change, all your relationships will be more compassionate and more rewarding. The other thing I got out of it was the message of be free, follow your heart. Don't let anyone step on your heart. And wondering, Mike, what was your message with this book, and who is it directed at?
Well, obviously it was written about baby boomers, but it's also written for baby boomers. The main theme, they're broken heart syndrome and Alzheimer's and post-traumatic stress syndrome with Buck, the Vietnam vet. But I wanted to show, at the end of the novel, we have optimism that Buck is able to move on with his life and forge relationships with women and other people. And that Sparky, although we're not sure what he's going to do with the lady next door, who's obviously interested in him, I think he has what we all have, regardless of what age. He has a lot of options in life, and he's looking forward to each and every one of them and exploring them. That when we reach 60 or 70, it doesn't have to be the end of the line. It can also be a series of beginnings, and that's what I was hoping to achieve with Sparky and Bud and all the characters. The whole theme of Goodbye Emily, that's what I was shooting for.
Well, it certainly had me smiling.
I'm so glad you enjoyed it.
Mike, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me. I really, really enjoyed your book, and I'm definitely going to recommend it to my friends. Thank you, Michael Murphy, author of Goodbye Emily. And I'm Esme with Hotwire Your Life, Mojo for Boomer Chicks. Thank you so much, listeners, for joining us. Bye-bye.